What's going on, YouTube? So the Toyota Crown is designed to be the king of luxury in the Toyota lineup. And for 2025, it's getting even better in significant ways.
That's right, this year we have a new Nightshade model, and we're also adding tons more standard features and a feature that even Lexus doesn't have.
So, is this now even more of a Lexus for less? Well, let's go ahead and find out. All right, so let's go ahead and start things out under the hood of this Crown. So there's two different powertrains you can choose from. We have the standard powertrain, which is the 4th generation hybrid system, a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, 2 electric motors for 236 horsepower. That's going to be paired with all-wheel drive and an eCVT, and your combined fuel economy is 41 miles per gallon.
Now, of course, there's another powertrain to talk about, which we will be discussing in the test drive. While we're on that test drive, we'll be getting things like our sound level reading, and after that, we'll discuss potential resale value and reliability.
And don't forget about our real-world fuel economy as well. But let's go ahead and close up the hood, because a big part of the Crown is its distinct exterior design and its luxurious interior. Now, like I was saying, of course, the Crown, when Toyota brought it back here to the US, has a very interesting design. That's one of the things that really stands out about this model. First of all, of course, I'll just go ahead and say, yes, this is kind of somewhere between a crossover and a sedan. You have 5.8 inches of ground clearance, so a little extra than what you normally get on a sedan, and gives it that elevated appearance. Now, obviously, it also has a bold exterior design, but we have something new for 2025. That is the new Nightshade model. So this builds upon the limited trim level, and it's going to add, of course, as you'd expect, some blacked out elements. One of those things you're going to notice is that we have the smoked chrome finish here on our Toyota badge. You continue to have the really large and bold black grille here, but you do still have this one silver accent that runs along the bottom edge. Now, something that runs up here is going to be a light bar in between our headlights. And as far as the headlights themselves, they're of course going to be standard full LED, but so long as you choose at least the limited trim level, that's going to get you these multi-beam projector LED headlights. Just be aware that there are no fog lamps available on any trim level. Now, as we continue on to the rear, of course, you're going to continue to find a very unique appearance in the back as well.
Yeah, and there are a few special elements for the Nightshade edition. Namely, you're going to have kind of some smoked out badging back here. You also have a blacked out Toyota emblem, and Drew's hopping inside right now so we can see if all the taillight elements on this Lexus-like Toyota are LED. So we do have an LED brake light, LED turn signal, and an LED reverse light integrated down there. So all three taillight elements are LED, nice and premium. As we drop down to this lower area, you will notice that we're not going to have any exposed exhaust outlets, and that goes for every version of the Crown.
Now, moving on to our wheels, you begin with 19-inch alloys on the limited trim level. However, the Nightshade edition does give you these special 21-inch alloy wheels. We got the nice matte black finish. I think it really pops with the overall design. One thing I do want to point out is that you have a little bit of cladding actually around the wheel arches. It's going to be a matte black finish on an XLE and limited trims, and then you have the gloss black finish on the platinum trim level. We do still have a nice gloss black finish up here on our mirrors. And as far as the features on board with this, you have standard heating and standard blind spot monitoring on all trims. We also have power folding.
Now, here at the side of the Crown, you're going to notice an overall vehicle length of about 196 inches long, and I have quite a bit to talk about when it comes to paint colors. Now, you may have seen this already on our channel. We actually reviewed a couple models that did have the bi-tone paint. You can get that on this model still. It's offered on the platinum trim level to have that two-tone finish, which makes for a really unique design. Now, I also want to point out that this color that you're looking at right today is a new color for 2025 in the Crown lineup. This is called Storm Cloud. Now, as far as your safety systems are concerned, I also want to discuss this. You're going to have all 4 active safety features as standard equipment. Additionally, when you choose the platinum grade or optional on the limited, you can get some even more advanced safety gear. But guys, there are a lot of new standard features in the inside for 2025, so let's dive into that. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, now let's go ahead and move on and see just how luxurious the cabin is. First, we'll take a look at the key fob. Pretty much your typical Toyota key fob on board, but it does have specific Toyota Crown branding. Smart entry is going to be standard on this model. The digital key system comes on the Platinum trim level. Now, walking up to the vehicle, just reach behind the handle that will unlock the door and fold the mirrors outward. Now, taking a look at the inside of the cabin, as you can see, you have a kind of a mixture of Toyota-like elements and Lexus-like elements. And we'll start off by talking about the seats because this is something that's new for 2025. You now have standard leather across the entire Crown lineup. So even the XLE is going to get a real leather seat. This model here, of course, does have real leather as well. On the Nightshade, it's just going to be a black finish, but we do still have color contrast stitching. Nice perforation. It's very soft and supple, and overall, very comfortable seat as well, I should add. As far as the seat adjustments, all the models are going to come with an 8-way power seat with 2-way lumbar support, and we also have memory seats as well. But let's go ahead, climb inside, and talk about some of those additional new standard features. Now that I shut the door, let's go ahead and talk about the rest of the cabin materials first off. So over here on our door trim, we have a nice leatherette covering. Actually, really the entire center section is going to be covered in leatherette as well. Soft touch plastic along the top. As we move to the upper dashboard, this is all finished except for this part right here in a soft touch plastic. You'll notice we have some bronze accents that are going to run around the vents as well as through the center. More leatherette that runs all through here, and you do have some padding along the center console for your knee to rest against. Everything does feel nice and solid as well. Now let's go ahead and fire it up with our standard push button start. All right, now let's go ahead and get into some of the individual features. We'll start off with our gauge cluster. As you expect for Toyota's Crown, their flagship sedan here, we do have a standard 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. You can change several aspects of the design as well. And then a head-up display is available, although you don't get that here on the Nightshade model. Limited and Platinum grades do get the rain-sensing wipers, and here, of course, is our newest Toyota steering wheel. A nice leather-wrap design across the board. We've got a couple new features that are standard now. We've got a power adjustment feature on the top Platinum trim level, and now heating on all the trim levels. Now we'll turn over here and take a look at interior storage next. So just like Lexus, you have the console that opens from two different sides. And when we look inside, you're going to see it's loaded down with donuts. That's because here at Car Confections, we like to put the stuffed donuts inside the console. That way we can see the volume. And this, of course, is our emblem. Inside of here, we have 10 donuts, which is respectable for a vehicle of this size, although it is smaller than the Camry, which we just recently tested out. Up in front of that, we've got a couple cup holders there. You have a little storage slot and 2 USB ports. Your bigger storage area for your phone is going to be right here, so you actually just slide your phone inside of the standard wireless phone charger. Now, coming back to the shifter, you've got a small and compact electronic style one. You're going to press over to the left and pull back for drive. There are not any paddle shifters on the steering wheel for this model. Do the opposite for reverse, and when you go into reverse, you're going to find a standard backup camera on all trim levels. This is what that's going to look like. So as you can see, we just have the active trajectory and the one traditional view. We do have front and rear parking sensors standard on all trims, but if you want the 360 bird's eye camera, you will need to get either the Limited with the Advanced Tech package or the Platinum trim level. And then just press that P right there for park. Behind that, you have your electronic parking brake with brake hold, as well as your drive mode controller. Now continuing on, the next place we need to come to are our climate controls. So we've got nice physical controls for this dual zone automatic setup, which is standard across the board. Temperature adjustment, super simple and easy. Now, here's one thing you'll be very surprised to know is now standard across the entire lineup for 2025. Not just heated seats, but also ventilated seats are standard equipment. That's a really cool thing that Toyota is including now. And it is automatic as well, so both the steering wheel and the seats will integrate in with your automatic climate control. Now, as we go above, you'll notice that we have our volume knob right here. You've got two different audio systems on board. Most trims are going to come with the 11-speaker JBL. That's what we have, and we'll give it a sample now. overall sound quality of this system is perfectly fine. Certainly fills up the cabin nicely, but I will say this is one area where maybe it doesn't feel as Lexus-like because, of course, on Lexus, you can get Mark Levinson, a higher tier sound system than a JBL. All right, let's return over here to our main infotainment screen, which this aspect is going to be very Lexus-like. It's 12.3 inches, high resolution, and it's running the latest Toyota software. This means you have features such as wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. That's what I'm in right now. Now, when I collapse this and go into the main Toyota system, you'll see it's a very simple system. You just have your menu structure there on the side. You do have a built-in navigation system as well. And overall, we didn't have any problems with it during our week of time with this model. Rising above here, we've got an auto-dimming mirror with our 3 HomeLink universal remotes. And then finally up here at the very top, you'll see that we do have a panoramic sunroof. This is going to be included on both the limited and the platinum trim levels. The thing to note about this though is it looks like it would open, but you can push this as many times as you want. This is a fixed piece of glass.
And let's dive into the rear seat area for this 25 Crown. Now, the standard features don't end in the front. They actually continue back here. We have some new standard features. But before I get into that, I do want to just mention your overall legroom and headroom figures. About 39 inches of legroom, about 37.5 inches of headroom. I'm 5'9" for reference. This is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8". And as far as the legroom, we're sitting at about 8.5 inches of additional knee room, and I can also slide my feet up underneath the seat. I want to point out that these rear seats are very comfortable. I'm enjoying my time back here, and also these headrests are very nice. They're kind of like a plain style wing headrest, so I do really like that. Now, as far as features are concerned, we do have standard vents on all Crowns. We also have 2 USB ports. That's a standard feature as well. If we fold down the center armrest, we do have 2 cup holders inside. And then turn over to the door trim, because there is where you're going to find the new standard feature for 2025, and that's heated rear seats. So yes, in addition to having heated front seats, ventilated front seats, you're now going to have heated rear seats as standard equipment for this 25 Crown. So really nice, fancy features that really you don't even see on Lexus products as standard. You can also fit the Stanley water bottle in the door storage, and overall door materials are quite nice with leather and soft touch plastics everywhere you touch. Now, walking up to the trunk, we do also have a new standard feature. On the platinum trim level, you're going to get a power trunk, so that's open and closing. As far as this limited, though, we're just going to have the traditional trunk setup. So in order to open it, you locate this button, which is 100% hidden from view, so they really need to relocate this. It took me about 30 minutes to figure out where that button was for this Crown. Now, as far as the cargo area, 15.2 cubic feet, so a good amount for a sedan like this. It's going to be pretty similar to something like a Toyota Camry for reference. As far as the seats themselves, they do fold 60-40 split, and we also have a spare tire integrated underneath the floor. So all the features you're looking for. As far as our cargo length, width, and height figures, that's something we do in all of our Car Confections reviews. About 45 inches of length from behind the second row of seats. As far as cargo width, we're looking at 37 inches wide, and height is going to be pretty short, coming in at a little over about 20 inches tall. So decently practical for a sedan, but of course, keep in mind that they do offer the Crown Signia if you need more space. And now it's time to take this Crown out for a spin. In this test drive, we're going to be talking about quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also be getting our Kentucky sound level reading for this model, so we're excited for that. But first, we want to go ahead and start by giving you a hard acceleration.
All right, 60 miles an hour. Not too bad at all. So, as we talked about with the spec dump, there's 2 powertrains with this Crown, both of which are hybrid, so it's going to be a hybrid exclusive vehicle, but it's kind of 2 different power outputs and 2 different focuses, you could say. So this is what's standard, and this is going to be focused mostly on fuel economy, but that doesn't mean that it's weak. This is still a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine with 2 electric motors, and the total power is 236.
Yeah.
Which is plenty of power for a vehicle of this size. Obviously, this is going to be a little bit smaller than some of the other applications that both Toyota and Lexus have used this in. That does mean that when you're behind the wheel, you are going to have a good deal better acceleration. 0 to 60 from Toyota is setting at 7.6 seconds, which feels just about right to Mason and I.
Yeah, you know, one of the things about this Crown is that we've never been behind the wheel of this base powertrain setup. We've actually driven only the Hybrid Max, so I was a little curious when they dropped this one off for us to live with for 7 days. Is it going to feel underpowered and weak? And the answer to that is definitely no. I think this is actually a really, really compelling powertrain choice. And this is going to be the only powertrain choice that you're going to have for this Nightshade trim level specifically. Now, if you want to get the Hybrid Max system, you are going to have to choose the Platinum trim level, and that's going to give you a exclusive powertrain choice, a 2.4 liter turbo 4. You have a front electric motor and you have a rear e-axle, 340 horsepower, 400 pound-feet of torque. Like we said, we've actually sampled that out quite a few different times at this point. It's a very, very quick powertrain. It's going to definitely knock up, you know, the sportiness and the overall performance of this vehicle.
Yeah, knock down the 0 to 60 substantially. Yeah, it does knock up the performance.
Yeah, it knocks up the performance down the 0 to 60 to 5.7 seconds. And that's something that they use in other Lexus products, you know, like the Lexus RX 500H will be using that same powertrain choice. It's worth noting you can't get that on the Crown Signia. So if you want it in a Toyota, that's going to be your choice, is the Crown Platinum.
So that was another run up to 60 miles an hour, and I think that shows off the responsiveness of the eCVT. So that's your transmission when you choose the traditional hybrid model. 6-speed automatic, though, if you go for the Hybrid Max. Again, you can just kind of pick that depending on what type of lifestyle and desires you want out of your Crown, but all of it does work together nice and responsively. That's kind of what altogether makes this feel like a pretty quick vehicle, considering you also have that electric torque that kind of pushes you off the line altogether.
Yeah, and all Crown models will have standard all-wheel drive. It is going to be a full-time all-wheel drive system on the Crown Platinum with the Hybrid Max setup. And while we're just sitting at 55 miles per hour on our designated strip of road, let's go ahead and get our signature sound level reading. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn it down to fan speed 1. Wow. 52.9 decibels is what we are sitting at for this Crown Nightshade model. I'm not at all surprised by that sound level reading, because this sounds like a very quiet vehicle, and when you're just inside of it, it does feel very Lexus-like. Now, as far as how that compares to other vehicles in this segment, we can check carconfections.com/sound level readings, where we post all of the sound level readings that we get on this channel, which are hundreds each year. And that does make it actually the quietest Crown that we've tested out, and also the quietest in the segment.
Yeah, that's definitely a Lexus-like number. And you might have been wondering, Mason mentioned in the introduction a feature that the Lexus ES doesn't have that this Crown does have, and that would be a rear steering system. Now, this specific example today doesn't have it because it's the limited, but if you choose the Platinum for 2025, you now get rear steering that actually can turn a few degrees, help you make that tighter turning circle, as well as help you with overall performance when you're driving enthusiastically on a back road. That's certainly a very fancy feature to see in a Toyota.
Yeah, and like we've been mentioning, this is a very Lexus-like product. So how does that translate to a ride quality? Well, as you can see, we just hit a bump in the road. This thing rides absolutely superbly. I've had no issues with it whatsoever over the course of the week that we have had it. It just really soaks up the bumps. I was a little curious as to how it would soak up the bumps with those big 21-inch alloy wheels on the outside, but you don't have to worry because this thing rides like an absolute dream. I will also point out that these seats feel straight out of a Lexus product to me. They're incredibly comfortable. The ventilation works really nicely, which can't be said about a lot of vehicles. The ventilation doesn't work great in some vehicles. This one, it works really nicely. So overall, when you get in this vehicle, I just want to stress, you do feel like you're in a more upscale product than the badge would suggest.
Right. And you do also feel like you have that elevated seating position. This certainly feels like a lot of the crossovers we've been driving recently. We had some crossover loans leading up to this, and you do have that elevated driving position. I know a lot of you guys are looking for that. That might be why you're interested in a Crown, to kind of combine the higher seating position with the sedan body. You do get that, and you also have good visibility all around. And that was sport mode, just makes everything feel a little bit more responsive. Now, by the way, in terms of your overall dynamic capability, having driven, both this limited base model as well as the Hybrid Max, that is going to be the more, performance oriented model, because that has adaptive dampers that allows things to firm up and handle with a little less body roll than this model exhibits. Because you have the elevated ride height, it has a decent amount of body roll, but I do like that the steering is very nice and responsive, and it's pretty easy to place it on even a curved road.
And let's also go ahead and discuss fuel economy. Now, of course, we've lived with this vehicle for the past 7 days, so I'm sure you're curious about the real-world fuel economy. I want to read the EPA's numbers off first, though. So for this XLE or the limited trim levels, you're sitting at 42, 41, 41 combined. And on the Platinum, that does go down 11 miles per gallon to 30 combined. So both of those are really good fuel economy figures. However, this is going to be the way to get the best fuel economy by far in the Crown lineup. Like I mentioned, all-wheel drive is standard. As far as our real-world fuel economy, at the time that we're shooting this video, we're not quite done with our week of sampling, so we will just go ahead and insert a picture after we get our mileage in of our real-world fuel economy, and you can see how that compares to the 41 that it's supposed to be getting. All right, now it's time to get into our Car Confections Slam Dunk and Airball, our favorite and least favorite element about this 25 Crown. Drew, kick us off with the Slam Dunk.
So Slam Dunk is simply going to be the 2025 upgrades. As you've seen throughout this video, we've actually gone through really a large number of upgrades, and you get all these additional things for, thankfully, not a big price increase, especially on that base XLE where you're adding tons of standard equipment.
Yeah, on the Airball side of things, what we are going to say is just the overall price of this model is kind of expensive. Is it a Lexus for less? Absolutely, it kind of is, but it's not going to be as much less as you might expect, especially if you choose like a Platinum model. That's going to ring in around 55 grand this year, plus, options and stuff. You'd be looking almost $60,000. So keep that in mind. Lastly, as far as your warranty information, you have a 3-year 36,000-mile basic, 5-year 60,000-mile powertrain. You do also get 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance.
And now let's talk pricing for this Crown. So they are going to raise the price just a little bit for 2025. It's under $2 grand for all the trim levels, though, so keep that in mind. The XLE now starts at $41,440, limited $45,950. This new Nightshade model comes in at $48,675, and the Platinum is going to be just a hair under $55 grand for 2025. Now, this particular tester, you can't see it because it's on my phone here, is coming in at $51,158 when we add in a couple accessories as well as the $1,095 destination charge. So overall, I think it's a pretty good value for what you're getting here. And if you're looking to buy a Toyota Crown or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because there's a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. All right, now it's time to talk about potential resale value and reliability to make sure you are making a smart purchase. First up, we'll talk about resale value. Now, as an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Toyota Crown's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth around 64.5% of its original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 41.4%. Now, it's worth noting that is one of the very best in the 5-year metric and also one of the very best in the 10-year metric. Toyota really nails the overall resale value by percentage.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. In this regard, Toyota is rated as the #1 overall brand as compared to all other vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale value and reliability information, be sure to head to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a car is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. And guys, that's going to be it for one of the first reviews of this new 2025 Toyota Crown Nightshade. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we surely hope you did, we really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, not only are you going to gain more access to car reviews, you also help us to get cars like this down to Kentucky. Toyota sent this vehicle down for us to sample out for the full 7 days, so those impressions and stuff are made possible by you hitting that subscribe button down below. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.